Welcome back, all you wonderful non-binary magic players. I am Harrison with Jenny Fedora Productions, and we are going to talk about what has happened this last weekend with the leaks for Dominaria. So, the biggest thing that happened in all this really is the changing of the pronouns. So they changed he, she to they. I have no problems with this. Magic has changed the pronouns over time, the language changes and everything else like this. And the only thing I saw that was kind of odd is, with it being the Chicago Manual Style, which just came out here in September, they said, yes, you can do this in informal writing and you can do this while you're speaking, but they still suggest avoiding using they for actual formal writing. So that's the question is a magic card an informal writing or is a formal writing thing? Because the wording is usually very important with the rules for magic, something that they've stated over time. But, with all this, we have the leaks and everything, and I want to get into a matter of business with this. What it comes down to is, I'm really making this video because of how this was handled on a business level at this point. And I think Wizards has done poorly, particularly with their Magic the Gathering Online manager, goes by MTG Lee on Twitter. So he ends up announcing on Twitter's, since the cat's out of the bag with the Dominaria leaks, yes, we are changing it from he, she to they. We're hoping that this will be more inclusive for non-binary people. So now we have the perception from a Wizards of the Coast manager on his official business account, not his personal account. Okay, we have this on his business account, that they are doing this for inclusivity with people that do not like to be gendered as he or she, and not because of the Chicago Style Guide. Okay, fine. That's still okay. The problem is now an argument ensues because this is controversial, and so he starts to go into an argument over what is gender, what is not gender, and sexual orientation and everything else like this, and that's where it started to get weird. So the Magic the Gathering Online manager decides to start blocking people on Twitter. On his official business Twitter account where he represents Magic, he starts blocking people. So, it's like people that has said potentially anything where they did not necessarily agree with this, and especially with his arguments about gender or the wording of gender or anything else like this. So he got way out in left field in an area that is most likely not his area of expertise. And apparently social media is not his area of expertise either, from what we saw, because the next day, here we have a manager again for Wizards of the Coast going, my block list has increased by a whole bunch. So the response to this controversial announcement is, we're going to be blocking our users now, and we're not going to listen to them. So now they're not going to be able to see any other announcements coming out, whether it's in regards to Magic the Gathering Online or in regards to anything else. It doesn't matter if they said something calm or timid or whatnot. One point, I know he started arguing about the definition of gender, and we even point out the definition still for gender is gender is a male or female, so it's relatively binary in that aspect, because there's only ones and zeros essentially. Computer humor, ha 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 ha, But that's where it went south. There's a lot more that this caused, because now, we have this unprofessionalism that worries us, and it worries a lot of other Magic players, because if you don't necessarily agree with the policy change now, Wizards has said, we're going to block people that we don't agree with. We're going to create an echo chamber versus listening to our customers. And that's one of the things that's really weird here. We also saw that Mark Rosewater confirmed a little bit more eloquently the change that they're going to be doing for the Magic cards with he, she today. He said they did it for numerous reasons. So, we know it's because of the Chicago Style Guide, but there's also for the inclusivity and everything else like this. But what the manager did, MTG Lee's account on Twitter, was just bad business practices. And it was so bad that anybody that tried to call in on Friday to complain to Wizards of the Coast couldn't get through. You were put on hold. We were on hold at one point for over an hour and said there's still 10 people ahead of you, over 10 people ahead of you. Would you like a callback? So sure, we put in the thing for a callback. Never got a callback. I mean, they stepped in it. They have absolutely stepped in it, And I'm sure a lot of people are, more concerned about how they handle this from a business aspect when there's so many other things that they need to be concerned about, such as the quality of the cards, the issues we've had there, and some of the other things such as the code of conduct and how they're having it overreach beyond everything. Because right now it's essentially if you buy a Magic product, I bought a Magic product, I now have to adhere to their code of conduct. So if I say anything that makes anybody uncomfortable, I could come underneath investigation. We have so many things right now that just makes it so weird, But from a business aspect, what was done by a Wizards representative, not on his personal account, on his business account, we got to make sure we make this distinction, is very unprofessional. It's something that you usually don't see in the business world. The people that end up doing that can typically get fired, especially when they go out and brag the next day about, I've blocked my customers. Yeah, people are voicing their concern online, especially in Twitter. I mean, you're trying to voice it in like 140 characters typically. So there may not be enough time to properly explain things, and you can't do it eloquently with inflections and everything else like this. But there's a lot of backlash. There's a lot of backlash. Yeah, there's people that like it, but there's a lot of people that don't. And now Wizards is not going to hear when they don't necessarily like, when those customers like a change or dislike a change, and they're also not going to be able to advertise to those customers now through that avenue because they have not ever pushed things out in a very uniform, this is your one-stop shop to go get your messages about announcements or changes for Wizards. And it's especially vital if you play Magic the Gathering online to potentially follow the online manager, because it could affect play online, and now a whole section is not going to be able to see that. I don't know what to think about this. This is something that I've not seen out of a business as big as this. I don't know if if this is something that Hasbro knows that their subsidiary Wizards of the Coast is actually doing. But, oh my gosh, I think there's still going to be a lot more backlash coming this week in regards to this, because why would you ever let a person or a representative of your company with an account for something as big as Wizards of the Coast start doing this? Because you start blocking the customers, they are going to stop paying attention to the game. They may even choose to not play the game, And I just don't think everything was eloquently explained with what happened over this weekend with the leaks for Dominaria. Wizards has got to get things in order before the Dominaria release, especially when it comes to this text change, because there are going to be people that don't necessarily follow on Twitter or social media that are going to see this change, in a month's time. So hopefully they can get a lot better message about why they're doing it without getting dragged down in the mud trying to debate identity politics or social politics, okay? This is not Wizards of the Coast field of expertise. Of course, most people nowadays are wondering if printing cards is even their field of expertise, considering the card print quality we've seen over the last several years. So, they need to fix this. They need to get the stores more involved in the game, and they got to make it more exciting for their players to want to come and play, especially the older ones that are going to be coming back, because a lot of older players want to come back with Dominaria, but this is the sort of thing that can sour things, especially when you start getting into grandstanding and soapboxing, like some people saw a dose of this weekend. I mean, look what happened to United Airlines here recently. Their stock plummeted, and they lost a state subsidy for fuel because they decided that we are going to not support the NRA anymore. It was actually very, very detrimental to their business to do that, considering it came out that only about 16 people actually used the NRA discount for flights anyways. So while they were trying to make a grand political statement, feel good and everything like that, when you look at it from a business aspect, that is a case that will be taught in class and studied, because that knee-jerk reaction caused them to lose billions of dollars in a fuel subsidy for everything. I'm hoping the same thing does not happen to Wizards with how they chose to approach the language change. But we'll see. We still got, basically a month before Dominaria. So, let us know what you think. If we're right, we're wrong. If you want to hear more about this from a different aspect and everything. The whole thing about this, though, was try to look at it from the business side. Hopefully Wizards of the Coast will see this, because my gosh, there's going to be people during this next week that are not going to be able to get a call back now, because they're going to be at work during the times that the Wizards of the Coast lines are open for business. And we will see you next time. So, because of that, you get the risers and you get the shells. The shells are usually about $6 each, but they are such an efficient way to hold these big boxes. It even holds them with the lids on, okay?